If Amazon accidentally sends you two of what you ordered, do you send one back? Story 1. Short answer, you don't have to, but it would be nice if you do. It happened to me in 2020 when I had to order an infrared thermometer on behalf of the society I'm living in. So we got one by Indian Speed Post, not Amazon delivery. We opened it and it was all good. But a few days later, I received another courier with a box of the same dimensions and another one inside. I contacted customer care regarding it, but they replied that they couldn't take the extra item back since it wasn't fulfilled by Amazon. Next, I asked them for the contact details of the seller. Turns out he was a businessman from the city Ahmedabad. He requested us to send the extra one back and also offered to pay the shipping charges. Since it was pandemic time, I wasn't very sure of going out to ship it. So instead I offered to buy this one for ourselves. He happily agreed, and now we have one at our home, though we don't use it much. The people selling through Amazon are trying to make a living. Mistakes happen, and I feel it will be good if they are not punished for those. It's not an obligation though, but as I mentioned before, it would be nice. Story 2. I once ordered a small electronic device costing just shy of $200 each. When I received the package from Amazon, it was an entire case of said item, inside another box with their plastic airbag packaging. I think there were 20 of them. I suppose I could have just kept them and made a good penny off eBay, but that's not how I was raised. I indicated there was an error with my shipment and commented that I received an entire case instead of one. They sent someone from the nearby Amazon center, and she collected all but one, and then gave me a $100 Amazon gift card. I'm expecting a good reincarnation. Story 3. Commenting from experience. I'd say, if you're honest, then no, you won't have to send it back. I once received an unexpected parcel. It had my name and address on it, but it was 3 weeks before payday, so I knew I hadn't ordered anything. I opened it and received a Microsoft Surface Pro keyboard and a new stylus. I checked my Amazon account and there was nothing listed. I contacted Amazon, who apologized and told me to keep it as it was their mistake. I checked my bank account and nothing came out of it. A few days later, I received another package with the exact same things inside. I contacted Amazon again and explained the situation. They once again told me to keep it because it was their error. After waiting nervously for 2 months to see if anything would happen, I finally opened one of the Surface Pro tablets and used it for my work. The other I sold on eBay. That's over £2,000 worth of equipment that I received and never had to return any of it. Story 4. I've just had an incident with an electric scooter I purchased for my 13-year-old granddaughter for Christmas. Won't bore you with the long story. Suffice to say, it was a heap of crap. Within an hour of riding it, the back brake plate got that hot, it was melting the tube in the tire. I wouldn't have trusted the lithium battery not to catch fire. It was from a reputable company, retailing at $550, but Christmas special $325, plus $25 postage. In hindsight, it was not that expensive for an e-scooter, but I didn't realize that. Anyway, after we'd exchanged it, and the same thing happened, I received a refund. About 3 weeks later, a large parcel truck pulled up outside. Out jumps the driver with another e-scooter. I told him I hadn't ordered one, and in fact had received a refund for a faulty one, so he said, "You don't want it?" I said no thanks, maybe they sent it as goodwill. Why would I want another fire hazard? I believe in karma. I'd had no indication that this was a freebie, so assumed there'd been an error. It wasn't mine, I hadn't paid for it, so sent it back. Story 5. In my case, it wasn't two of the items. I had placed an order for a magnifying glass. It was supposed to have been delivered the following Tuesday from the day I ordered, which was on Thursday, before 9 p.m. The total cost of the magnifying glass order was 538 Indian rupees. I had ordered 2, each costing 269 Indian rupees. Tuesday 10 p.m. and I didn't receive the magnifying glass. But the status in Amazon showed that it was delivered and accepted. This happens always. And usually the next day before 8 a.m., the delivery guys come and drop the shipment. But the magnifying glass, I didn't receive it even by Thursday night. So Friday morning, I called up Amazon support and let them know that I hadn't received the package and that the status was delivered. The support person checked and told me that they can try a replacement. I asked for a replacement, but she called back and told me that replacements are not available as this product is no longer available and that the amount, including shipping, will be credited back into my account. I was okay with that, but surprisingly, on Saturday morning, the glass was delivered. I immediately called Amazon and let them know that I had received the shipment and that I need to return the 538 rupees. But they replied that they didn't have a mechanism to take money back. I even spoke to her manager and still, they refused to accept the money back. Their reason? They don't have a mechanism to take the money back. This, I think, was a peculiar use case for them. I just hope that they build a solution for this use case in the future. I even tweeted to Jeff Bezos and to Amazon India regarding my situation, but got no response at all. Story 6. Under the Federal Trade Commission and under federal law, people who receive products that they didn't order have the legal right to keep them as a gift. See, years ago, before this law was written, companies would send out to their customers unordered things or multiples of what they ordered and then charge for all these products as if they had been ordered. So if person A bought 1 pair of pants, the company might send 2 pairs of pants, 2 shirts, and a watch, and charge for all 5 items. Or someone might order a pair of pants. And then a bunch of other crap they didn't order would get sent and charged to their card on record. Or they would send things to people who had never done business with them, write up a bill, send it, and it would go to collections while their victim tried to fight it. People got tired of this, so a law was passed to make it so that if unordered items are sent to your house, then they are yours to keep, and the company can't charge you for them. The only exception would be if you ordered an item, it got lost in the mail, and they sent you a replacement, and then the lost item showed up. Because you called them and essentially ordered the replacement, you have to send one of them back or pay for both. Story 7. Amazon did just that with an $800 PC motherboard, but not straightforward. They shipped one that was delivered, but I never got it. I called customer service and at first they said it was delivered. I told them to look at the picture of the porch they left it on and now compare that to my other orders. Not even close. They shipped out another and several days later the person who received the first one brought it to my home. I called them to let them know that the owner of the home they delivered it to had brought it to me. It's still unopened. I was surprised to hear them tell me to keep it as it's already been written off in the system and they can't issue a return for it. It's still in the box as I have no use for it unless I want to build another high-end machine. Spare, I guess. I'm not going to try to sell it as that's just wrong in my opinion. I tried to get them to issue a return and they refused, so I did my due diligence. There is also the possibility of a mistake on their part. There is a selection in the drop-down box of return for receiving more than you ordered. The right thing to do is return what you didn't pay for, or they may eventually charge you for the extra item. If they don't, there is this thing called karma. You might not pay for it now, or even pay them, but something will eventually bite you when you least expect it. Just do what's right. Personally, I can't carry that burden of knowing I didn't do the right thing. Story 8. I ordered some things from Amazon, and when it came, there were 2 boxes. I thought to myself that they shipped my order in 2 boxes. I opened the first box, and all my stuff was in the box. I opened the second one, and it was the exact items. I had a difficult time trying to get a real person on the line, and my stubbornness paid off. I explained the situation, and she said, just keep it. Mind you, this was over $150 in products, so I said thank you, and hung up. Story 9. Amazon delivered 6 bike helmets to my house. They seemed particularly sturdy and well made, and didn't look half bad when on. The address on the parcels was correct. The name wasn't mine, though. I contacted Amazon via online chat, asked when they'll pick it up, and they answered, that won't be necessary. Next day I looked up the phone number of the warehouse who physically processed the parcels, labeled them, and sent them to my house. I got the same answer, keep the helmets. I left them on the lawn at the front of the house for people to help themselves to helmets. It took almost 2 weeks to get rid of them. Only one at a time was disappearing. Story 10. If you want to sleep well at night, not have undue money problems, and actually like yourself, then yes. I always contact them and tell them what has occurred. 8 times out of 10, they tell me to keep the item, give it away, donate it, or whatever. Or, one time I bought my husband, for his birthday, a whole aquarium set up. It was not via Amazon, but Petco. The principles are exactly the same, though. I paid online for a pickup arrangement at my local store. The next day I was notified it was ready and went and picked it up. Over the next week or so, they kept emailing me to come pick it up. I called and told the person who answered that I picked it up. She said it would come off the system and not to worry. When the designation period for pickup was up, Petco refunded me the entire cost, over $100. As their records showed, I didn't pick it up. Obviously, the person who handed it to me forgot to scan it as delivered. I called their customer service, explained what had happened, and offered to pay for it. The lady I talked to told me to enjoy it as an early Christmas present. She also said I made her day. Another time, a unique vintage lamp I bought on eBay arrived all crooked with a broken socket. It was clearly due to the post office mishandling. I filed a claim with them but found the form extremely confusing, so somehow I claimed the same cost for the same item on the same day twice. I figured they would see those were identical claims and only pay one. Nonetheless, I contacted someone who said that nothing could be done about it till the claim is closed. I waited to see what would happen, and sure enough, they went ahead and paid both claims. I contacted them again, ran into more bureaucracy and inefficiency, and finally gave up. But I tried. I managed to fix the lamp, thank you Google search and YouTube videos. And it is gracing my side table, where I get to use and enjoy it daily. Posted a photo below in case anyone is curious. So I got the aquarium for free and got paid twice for the privilege of keeping the lamp. But the important thing was that I kept my integrity. And that is worth a heck of a lot more than any material thing ever would. As a side benefit, the more meticulously you keep your financial obligations and refrain from doing anything funny, however tempting or even legal it may be, the less problems you will have with money and the more happy events as those cited above. And I only mention money-related issues because that was what the question had to do with, but the same principle applies to all walks of life. Story 11. Depending on your jurisdiction, you may not be obligated to send the additional items back, but make sure about it before making any decisions. In my country, for example, you may be brought to trial for a misdemeanor misappropriation charge, which may carry a fine or some months in the shade. Yes, even if the purchase was made in a US-based store and the mistake was on the seller's end. You must at least make the effort to report it and be available to return it to the sender if requested to do so. Anyway, even if in the US you are not obligated to per FTC's past rulings, I think we can all agree that it is in the end a bit of good karma that doesn't hurt. I was raised to not keep anything that was handed me in error, and I live by that teaching every day. That said, my only relatable experience was not with Amazon, but with a now defunct UK-based bookstore. I purchased some books, time went by and all but one of the books in my order were delivered. I waited an extra week, and then contacted the seller to let them know I was missing one book. They swiftly responded by shipping another copy. Let yet another week go by, and I got one book. Great, I thought. Next day, the second copy was delivered. I contacted the store, let them know about this, and they got in touch with me over the phone. The rep basically said that handling the return logistics would cost them more than the book itself, and that if I promised to give one copy to someone else who might need it, I was free to keep both copies. And so I did. The book worked as a great birthday present for a friend of mine, who would have asked me to lend him my copy if I hadn't given him his own, so everything turned out fine. Story 12. In my case, it wasn't Amazon. It was Hudson's Bay who mistakenly sent me 2 very expensive pillows, though I'd only ordered and paid for one. I tried calling customer service, but got put on permanent hold the first time I tried. The second time, I actually got a human being who had to go ask his supervisor, and then just left me hanging on the line. Third time, I got nothing but very irritating music, occasionally interrupted by a mechanical voice saying, "Please stay on the line. A sales representative will be with you shortly." And of course, the sales representative never did show up. So then I sent an email to the purported customer service, asking how I could return the surplus pillow without having to pay postage. Nada. 2 weeks later, still nada. Finally, at the end of a month, I decided I was just supposed to keep the damn pillow. So now it sits, still in its original box, and its original packaging in my linen closet where it has not caused me a moment's guilt for 3 years now. Story 13. I had the opposite. I ordered a mug, and after several weeks, it still had not arrived. I contacted them and agreed to send a second one, as I wanted the mug. A few days later, both turn up on the same day, but 2 packages. I contacted them again, and their response was as I was honest to inform them I could keep the second mug as the cost to ship it back would outweigh any savings. It always pays to be honest. Story 14. Legally not due to the Federal Trade Commission and under federal law, when a company sends you something you did not order, you are able to keep it legally. Here is the catch. Amazon has their own policies, and despite some of their policies being unlawful, depending on the state, they get away with this if they send something that resembles the item that does not have the correct specs. For example, I received a knife that had a different color handle and was smaller than advertised. I was asked to mail this back to Amazon if I wanted to receive credit. I also received a bogus knockoff 1 terabyte USB 3.2 flash drive that listed the specs on the package, but when I tested it, it was less than 256 pounds and was a USB 1.0. Obviously not what I ordered, but in this case, I was allowed to keep it as I made a case that the company was fraudulently sending electronics that were not what they promised, and knew that they were illegally sending this merchandise to the USA. Realize that Amazon's policies are different than what the law may state, but good luck trying to sue Amazon for them to return your money. Plot twist! A couple of years ago, I was talking to a representative from Zwilling J.A. Henkel's looking to buy a 3-piece knife set for my outdoor grill, and the one I wanted was out of stock. But they also sold the knives individually, so the rep was seeing if they were available individually, and he was going to modify the price so that it matched the 3-piece set. While the rep was searching the inventory, I too was searching and came across a Miyabi SG-2 Birchwood 9-inch Damascus chef knife selling for $399. And when I saw it, I verbally said, "Wow, this knife is unbelievable. This is a thing of beauty." The Zwilling rep asked what I was looking at, and I gave him the product code, and sure enough, he had the exact same response. Well, about 10 minutes later, he found all the 3-piece knives set in stock for the individual knives and wrote up the order. $80 less, 30% discount, and I was told to expect it within 2 weeks. Just a tad under 2 weeks, I got a package from Zwilling, and to my surprise, it was that beautiful Miyabi Damascus 9-inch chef knife. I called Zwilling and told them that I didn't receive my 3-piece set, but instead got in the mail a single chef knife. They apologized, didn't even ask what knife I was sent, and simply told me to keep it. 2 weeks later, I got the 3-piece knife that I ordered. In this case, I can only assume they had a disgruntled employee, as this was just a year after COVID lockdown was removed. Zwilling also had a problem with their computer system for a year, and every order they sent me were in triplicates. I would receive the exact same knives in 3 different shipments. I saw the multiple email confirmations of each delivery and called Zwilling to inform them that they had my orders being sent in sets of 3 and to cancel the other 2 orders, but in the end I got all 3 packages with duplicates. I live in Queens, New York, and due to theft, most of the post office boxes only accept letter-size mail, and the drop-off boxes were too small to fit the knives for returning them postage paid. UPS was 40 minutes from me, so I simply gave the duplicates to family and neighbors. Story 15. Something like this happened to me a few years back. Amazon was just trying to establish itself in Indian markets those days. So, Amazon was a new experience for me too. I ordered an item from Amazon India, and the item was received by me after a couple of days. When I opened the package, I was surprised to find a branded nail polish bottle, along with what I ordered. It appeared they might have wrongly placed that item, or it somehow entered or remained in the pack inadvertently. The cost of the nail polish was more than the item I ordered. I don't remember now its cost exactly, but was well above $20. I was in a dilemma whether to inform Amazon India about it or not. On earlier occasions, when a few items ordered by me on Amazon were not delivered within the time, I complained, and I was even given a gift check or compensation for the delay. In view of that, my conscience did not allow me to keep the item. I got in touch with customer care people and explained the position. They told me that there was some technical difficulty. As it was, I don't exactly remember the reason, but it was something similar, not entered in their registers as delivered to me. They may not be able to take the item back into their stock. As such, they told me that I can keep the item, no need to return it. The second incident was even funnier. I ordered an Xbox that came with 4 free game CDs. Of those 4 games, 1 was not working. I brought the matter to the notice of Amazon customer care, requesting them to replace the faulty game CD. But they said that they will not be able to take back only 1 game CD since it came as a pack. It was funny enough to know that if I want, I can return the entire package, that is, Xbox along with 4 game CDs, to them. It was the product of some third party. After careful mull, I decided not to return the product. saying I will think that the Xbox came with 3 free CDs instead of 4. Sometime later, Amazon offered me a gift voucher that is the cost of 1 game CD if I want to purchase it separately. I was happy with their gesture. Story 16. Have to? No, but you might want to depending on the company in question. Here is when you do not want to send something back. Both of my kids were born in the same hospital a little less than 4 years apart. The hospital has some sort of deal with a photographer where the photographer takes pictures of the kids, then sends them to you, along with a bill and instruction to either pay or return them. This is before digital cameras. With my first kid, I played it the way they wanted and sent payment. They cashed the check and then harassed me saying that I never sent it, even when I faxed, remember them? A copy of the canceled check. When kid #2 came along, they sent me the pictures and I sent them nothing. No reply at all, no money, nothing. I also made sure that when filling out the paperwork at the hospital that I was not signing anything, saying I would either pay or send the pictures back. The photography company called me asking about payment. I read them the statute over the phone and told me that if they called again, I would sue them for harassment. Had they not been jerks to me the first time, I would never have done that, but in this case, I felt that they deserved it. Story 17. I once ordered a little bookcase from Urban Outfitters. I showed up. I put it in the bathroom because there were no other shelves or storage in there. A couple days later, another one showed up. I called and let them know. If they had told me to keep it, it would have gone to good use. But they sent a return label and had UPS pick it up. Someone told me I was stupid for returning it. I ordered one, paid for one, and only really needed one. It didn't belong to me. My parents raised me to not take things that do not belong to me unless they are explicitly given to me. Story 18. If a company sends you items you have not requested, you are not responsible for paying for them, nor returning them. I know this because I had it happen, and was being repeatedly contacted by the company telling me to send the extra item back. I live 20 miles from any shipping center, and they weren't even offering a return shipping tag for it. I didn't return it because 1. I wasn't spending my own time and money to go out of my way to send it, and 2. I didn't order it and had no legal obligation to do so. I did specifically check the legal answer to that question before making my decision to let the company assume responsibility for their error. Also, Amazon is never going to send a staffer to visit you and give you a pat on the back. At the volume of business they do, it's written off and allowed for under some amount of loss they plan for in the course of normal sales and shipping. It's not worth the time it would take someone to personally handle individual cases. If you call to let them know, they may tell you to just keep the item depending on the cost of return shipping, etc. The most effort they are going to put out is sending you a return shipping tag for you to send it back. I processed returns for them for 4 years. Author of the highlighted answer was not being honest and is listed as having worked for Amazon for 2 years. No one showed up at his house in person to reward him. Story 19. This wasn't Amazon, but a large brick-and-mortar home center chain that also does online sales. I ordered a large US-made roll-around tool chest. A week past the stated delivery date, the tool chest still hadn't arrived. I called customer service and the person said they no longer had that model. She suggested that we change the order to a similar, better model that was around $100 more, and she'd waive the extra $100. I agreed, and a big cardboard box showed up the next day. I unpacked the chest and happily filled it with tools. About a week later, I heard noise outside and discovered that a truck had left another big cardboard box. It was the first tool chest, come at last. I called customer service and alerted them to the error. This different customer service rep at first tried to tell me where I could return the box. I indicated I would not rent a truck to return something they sent me in error. It was safe in my backyard and they should send someone to pick it up. She said someone would come on Monday to get it. Nobody ever came. 2 Mondays later, feeling I'd fulfilled my duty to inform them of the error, I accepted the tool chest as a gift, unpacked it, and filled it with tools. I have many tools. Having worked on all sorts of policy and procedural documentation for various clients, I've seen a lot of chaos in large companies. This was, however, an amazing string of errors that left me wondering what that home center pays every year just for its own goof-ups. Story 20. A similar thing happened to me once, probably around 2021. I ordered a small freezer on Amazon, which if I recall correctly, sold for a little under $200. It didn't arrive within the time frame promised, and then some, so I contacted Amazon and marked that it was lost. No problem. They offered my money back or a replacement. I opted for a replacement, which came quickly enough, and I considered the matter resolved. Well, the missing freezer found its way to my house, and the small one wasn't quite large enough for my needs, so I was happy for the extra one. Only thing was, I now had 2 freezers for the price of one, and I'm an ethical person, so I needed to resolve this with Amazon. I had to contact the customer service department a couple of times in order to specify what I wanted. No, I did not want to return the second freezer. I simply wanted to pay for it. In the end, Amazon told me to keep it at no charge. I suppose customer service wasn't worth the hassle of billing me, or perhaps it was a thank you for my patience and being a customer for all of these years. In any event, what you have to do and what's the right thing to do in this case don't necessarily coincide. Will Amazon send one of their delivery drivers to retrieve the extra item from your house? I very much doubt it. Will the extra item's cost make even a dent in the salary of Jeff Bezos? Highly unlikely. But it's nice to be able to sleep at night with a clear conscience, so you should do your best to rectify the situation. Who knows, it might turn out in your favor, as it did with me. Story 21. I've never had this exact thing happen, but a couple times I have received packages in error that were meant for other people, but somehow had my address on them. Each time I contacted Amazon to ask how to return the items, and they always say to just keep it. Even when I've mildly argued with them, saying I don't want it, they say it's not worth their time or money to get it back and restock it, and that I should throw it away or give it to someone else if I don't want it. Granted, nothing I've received has been super expensive, but I've still felt bad about keeping the stuff. I see their logic, I guess, but it's weird to me. Anyway, given that, I'd say contact them and offer to send it back. You might get a nice surprise, and even if you don't, you'll be doing the right thing. Story 22. This happened to us recently, and yes, we called and advised them that we would be returning the second order. We had not been charged, and the woman was grateful for our honesty. And while I'm at it, let me tell you a little story. A long while back, I knew someone, and his wife, who were well off, and we went to a local gardening store where they were buying bags of mulch. It was 4 bags for $10, and he paid the cashier and was told to load up in the back. This guy always took two extra bags, and I was like, that's stealing. And he said, they know people are going to take more. I wanted to go back in later and pay for the 2 extra bags that he took, but I didn't, and that always bothered me. So, yeah, I would always send the double article back unless they charged me for it, and I needed it. Story 23. One thing I cannot fault Amazon for is their customer service. Don't get me wrong, they do screw up. But when you report issues to them, my personal experience is that you cannot fault their response. For example, twice when I received a hardcover book shipped all the way from the US to Australia and it got dinged up in transit, Amazon sent me a replacement copy of the book and let me keep the cosmetically damaged copy instead of having me go to the trouble of shipping them back. Of course, in that case, the cost of me sending a book back to them, without benefit of their bulk shipment rates, and the long-term benefit of keeping me as a happy customer providing them good word of mouth, and not pure selflessness, would be a motivation for that decision. And I'd have preferred getting the book shipped properly in the first place. But I find Amazon highly reasonable to deal with when they create the issue themselves. Result? Our local library received a couple of donated books. Based upon that experience, my moral principles, being honest and fair in my dealings, and my inherent distaste for hypocrisy, I'd contact Amazon customer service and let them know that I received an extra copy. And the fact that Amazon would likely make things painless for me, or reward my honesty, would make it all the more easy for me to stick to my principles. Consider that a win-win for exercising rational self-interest with a clear conscience.
Thanks for watching until the end. If you have a similar story to these that you want to share with us, please leave it in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, please leave us a like and subscribe. For more videos like this one right now, please stop by our channel. Thanks again, and see you next time.